I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen that Osu Laser came out a couple days ago, and it's basically a new client, a new modernized Osu client that is just having a different scoring system, more mods, and just a different UI. Like it's just a bunch of different changes compared to stable. Basically an official release right now, and they just dropped a new way to like get PP on it. Like you can get PP on Laser now, which was not something that used to be. So this video, I just want to talk about my thoughts on Laser because I played around with Laser a bit since it just seems like there's a lot of hype around it. I just wanted to like dip my toes into Laser and check it out for myself. First, I want to point out that one of the things that I struggle with Laser, this is an opinion that a lot of people share, but I think that Osu Laser, as you can see when you first log into it, the UI is super cluttered. Like there's buttons everywhere. Like there's so many buttons on the sides and shit. Like if you compare the UI of Laser compared to stable, the UI of Laser is just it's just too much. Like a lot of the buttons are just all over the place. I mean, they're not all over the place, but they're just like small details and small buttons that are just a lot of them, like instead of them being compiled into their own subsections. So if you compare it to Osu Stable, like I'm not a UI expert or like a graphic designer in any means, but when I was comparing like the UIs of Stable to Laser, when you like take a look at Stable's UI, which is honestly extremely good, it's extremely simple and good UI for any beginner. Like you look at the corners and most of the buttons are like around the corners instead. Laser kind of simulates that, but what Laser does not do in comparison to stable is that the Laser buttons aren't exactly in their own sections, because like in stable, for example, when you want to sort maps by like collection or like no grouping, whatever the heck, there's like a drop down button. Laser doesn't have that. It's just like a whole array of buttons just like that in a small area, and it just looks really ugly when you do it like that. And also Laser, when you first open it, like the UI of the Laser, when you look at all the craziness that's going on with Laser with all the music and the flashing lights, the buttons are also very small in comparison to stables. Like stables buttons, there's just big four buttons: play, edit, options, exit. The Laser, they got to put all the buttons everywhere, which is pretty weird. That's like one of my criticisms about Laser, and I suppose like if they want to improve on that, in my opinion, they could like make buttons bigger, maybe just have few of them or omit some buttons, honestly. But I don't know, I'm not a graphic designer expert, but that's just my thoughts on the UI, and I feel like that's something I should point out first with Laser, because I never played Laser before. I played it maybe like one time on like someone else's computer here and there. I mean, that doesn't, I'm not multi-counting, it was on a freaking guest account, but it was just like 1 second, like I just tried some mods on that and it was cool, and I finally just got around to like actually play it. But also another thing about Laser is that I think the mods in Laser are super fun. So there's like a bunch of like extra like fun mods, like you can make the map spin around while you play, or make like the approach circles just have the approach circles and on the circles. I personally, when I was playing around with the mods, like I played all of them. I played it on Made of Fire because that was the first like map that showed up. I personally like Wind Up and the Magnet mod, because Wind Up, what's cool about that is that the map accelerates as you play it, so it gets faster and faster. I don't know, I just like that. It's kind of like double time but like fun. The Magnet mod is fun because all of the like circles, they literally group up around you, like they get attracted to your cursor, so you don't have to aim as much, which is kind of cool because I don't really like aiming that much, or not, or it just makes it like more comfortable to aim and you can just focus on your tapping. Like that's just, I just like that. Another thing, like I don't think I remember anything else about the other mods. Like some of those mods are just absolutely like crazy. Like the opposite of Magnet mods, Repel, where the cursors go away from your cursor. Like that thing is craziness. Like that's for if you want to be the ultimate aim god. There's also some other mods about Laser. Like I'm not going to talk about every single one of them, but I'm just going to talk about the ones that I thought were the most interesting. So I think one of the features about Laser is that you can adjust the BPM and you can adjust OD to HP to AR like on the maps. Like I really like that, how you can do that in Osu Laser, and it kind of creates your own version of a map when you play it. Obviously when you do that, it's probably going to be unranked. Maybe they're going to make it ranked in the future, but it'll be cool because what I like about how you can change the BPM is that I like that a lot, because you can make maps go around, like every map that you play can be a comfortable BPM for you. Like if you're comfortable only 180 BPM, you can adjust all the maps you play to 180 BPM, which is really nice. And some maps that you really like but are too high BPM for you, or maybe just too little BPM, like if it's 210 BPM but you're comfortable with 240 like me, then you want to adjust that to 240 BPM. I really like that personally with the difficulty adjustments, and it would be really cool if they could introduce that as a ranked feature. And oh, that's pretty cool. Ranked PP and laser. So laser recently they allowed you to get PP now, which was not what you can used to do on laser, and that's pretty cool. But honestly, I don't really care about it because probably those PP scores are going to get wiped in the future anyways, and they don't exactly transfer over to stable, which is where like the actual PP is. I don't personally care about the PP as a result. Like on laser, I don't plan to farm on laser, and maybe I'll just hop on laser if I just want to play some bullcrapping mods and whatever, just have some fun. But I don't know. I don't really think there's much of a point to farm on laser, and like just as right now, maybe if you just want to get some dopamine spikes, just see your PP gain up. But honestly, like, it's not like you'll even have a new account to play on. Not like it's like going hopping on a private server. You're still gonna have your old PP, and it's still gonna be as difficult to get PP as it is. So it's not necessarily much of a change. Personally, I just don't really care about it. I mean, you know what would be kind of cool? Like I saw like this on Reddit where someone gave a suggestion where if they wiped your account for laser, like if you just have a different account for laser, which I think would be kind of interesting. Like you just start from afresh. I don't know. I feel like that would be kind of cool. But I don't know if they would actually implement that because, of course, there'll be some weird things about that, like some implications, like D rankers, for example, like fraternities, D rankers could completely utilize that and just become like a 0 PP, but they're setting 1,000 PPs like unranked. Another thing about laser is that I think the new scoring system, like where basically the score caps at 1,000,000, I think it's kind of cool, but there's still a lot of works on like the mods multipliers being worked on for the scores. Like DT, for example, was only 1.1x, while unstable it's 1.12x. So it seems like there's just a bunch of changes being made. The scoring system being capped at 1,000,000 is kind of sad that like if you play Sun, the Moon, and Stars and you get like 1,000,000,000 score, you can't really get that anymore in Laser. It's just like 1,000,000 score now. But I don't really have much else opinion about it. I just think it's like eh. Also, the thing about Laser where the scoring system now there's actual slider rack like Score V2. Like most tourneys like implement Score V2 and you actually have to like time the tapping on sliders when previously in classic Osu you don't have to like think about the rhythm of the slider as long as you tapped it, as long as it's like within that approach rate within like a certain ms, then you're fine. But in Osu laser you got to actually like time the sliders, which honestly like for the sake of tourneys, if you want to play better in tourneys, that's pretty good. I personally think that thing about sliders is pretty annoying, and especially if you play like a super crazy tech map where it detects sliders are just all over the place and you have that rhythm slider effect on it, it sucks. But I know they have a mod in laser called a classic where it removes that slider acting, which is kind of cool. Your score multiplier is only reduced by like 4% ish, but I don't know. Another thing about laser, it seems like note lock's not a thing on it anymore. So personally, when I played laser for a bit, like I only played for like 30 minutes or something. I didn't really play like that much because I was gonna hop on my account, but I forgot my password and I was too lazy to change my password. So I was just like, screw it, I'm just play offline. And I was just playing some like auto generated maps in there, like when you first download laser, and Made of Fire was on there. And I didn't really notice a lot of things about note lock personally, but it seems like note lock is not necessarily a thing anymore. So that basically means that passing maps is going to be a lot easier because now you can just like bullcrap your way through like streams, like crazy hard streams, which could be a good thing, I guess. Note lock is not necessarily something that's much of a problem for me personally. I never really noticed it. I guess it's good for people who want to pass maps, but can't because of note lock. Another thing about lasers. So I was looking on Reddit and I found this really funny suggestion where this guy was like, he was suggesting to Peppy, do you think you can add an 18+ mode to Osu where the girl in the background would take off a piece of clothing for every 200 combo you get? And if you FC, she starts twerking on the screen. And Peppy was like, yeah, stable, we're not going to add that to stable, but in laser, maybe. And I was kind of thinking that would be a funny as hell like mod in Osu, but obviously it's probably not going to get implemented since Osu. I mean, I guess Osu is already kind of sus if you look at the seasonal backgrounds, but that's why I have them turned off because I just think they're quite obnoxious. But if they actually implement that to laser, you know, that'll be real interesting. I don't know, maybe Peppy would lock that behind if supporter, like if you get supporter, like that'll be something to actually get you to pay for supporter, because I personally think that supporter is not necessarily something that is that valuable to me because you can still play the game without support. Supporter, I guess the best thing about it is that you can look at friend leaderboard and also download maps within the Osu client. But if they add that like as a supporter like feature where the girl starts twerking on the screen, Just supporter. I don't know. That'll be funny as shit. But if they actually implement that, cool. Um, my opinion on it, I don't know. I don't know, man. I mean, that would be freaking sus because like some maps, like OSU backgrounds, a lot of them, like if you play like the anime songs, some of them are just low key sus, and like some of them are just like you know what I mean by like sus. Like if they have that mod on, it would just be craziness. But I don't know. I just thought that was funny. I don't really care if it's get added or not because I don't really play OSU for that reason. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about laser. I just want to give my thoughts about it because it's just been like something that's going on recently in OSU scene, and I just played it for a bit. So yeah, just pretty much all I want to say. Yeah.